When we sit down to watch a match, we are immediately absorbed by the raw physical reality of the sport. We watch the collisions, the speed, and the sheer athleticism happening right in front of us. We generally assume that we are processing these events independently. We trust our eyes to judge the action, and we view the person in the broadcast booth as a neutral observer, simply describing the facts. But commentators often rely on semantic framing. They take an objective physical action and choose specific words to highlight certain facts while obscuring others. This makes the commentator a real-time narrative director. They use subtle vocabulary to guide viewer allegiances and explain away errors, often without the audience realizing their perspective is being nudged. To see how this works, we can run an A/B test on reality. By looking at identical plays, we can see how a change in vocabulary changes our perception of the game. Consider an isolated physical scenario. A player under heavy pressure tries to catch a high ball, but drops it. In a sympathetic frame, a commentator might say the ball was put into an awkward area. This specific phrasing shifts focus away from the catcher, suggesting the kick's quality caused the error, shielding the player. Now we change the frame. If it's an opponent, the commentator might say he completely spilled it under pressure. Suddenly, the external factors vanish. The viewer is led to see the moment as a direct individual failure. By swapping a few nouns and verbs, the broadcaster influences who the audience holds responsible. The physical event is the same, but the narrative is adjusted through word choice alone. These choices extend beyond simple errors into more complex judgments about a player's character and physical state. We see this when an aging star's slow reaction is described as veteran positioning, framing a physical decline as an intellectual asset. Meanwhile, the same lag in a less established player is simply described as lacking pace. This framing becomes even more significant during high-stakes physical interactions, where the commentator's vocabulary judges a player's intent. In a heavy collision like this one, the audience relies on the commentary to help interpret the severity of the contact. A favored player's dangerous tackle might be labeled clumsy or accidental, softening the impact for the viewer. But an identical hit from an opponent is often branded cynical or reckless, signaling a lack of discipline. These semantic choices help maintain the reputations of stars, turning physical mistakes into unfortunate mishaps while labeling opponents as liabilities. These semantic descriptions also build the cultural identity of an entire team. When a team consistently pushes the limits of the rules, the vocabulary used to describe their defensive structure shapes how we judge their integrity. Their play might be praised as pragmatic and pushing the boundaries, suggesting a competitive edge. Or it might be described as boring and cynical cheating, framing their strategy as a violation of the spirit of the game. This framing also applies to heated confrontations, where the broadcaster decides how to interpret raw aggression. Violence on the pitch can be validated as showing passion, framing it as a positive sign of team spirit. Conversely, the same behavior can be condemned as losing control, presenting the players as a disciplinary risk to their side. When a specific player needs to be shielded from a clear error, commentators may even switch to the passive voice. Phrasing like "mistakes were made" removes the individual from the sentence, distancing them from the consequence. By the time the final whistle blows, our perception of a team's discipline and moral standing has been guided by these recurring linguistic choices. Sports commentary provides more than just a description of the match. It provides the lens through which we view the drama. The most effective bias isn't an explicit statement of favoritism. It lives within the adjectives and verbs that we accept as simple description. While the referee manages physical rules on the field, the commentary team manages the narrative expectations of the audience through their choice of words. The next time you watch a game, look past the athletes for a moment and listen to the specific words used to describe them. Identifying these semantic patterns reveals the subtle editorial leanings of a broadcast, showing how word choice can quietly prioritize one team's story over the other.